Hey everybody, it's Beth Gaff with the Peabody Public Library. Welcome back to another session of Virtual Travels and Destinations. Today we're going to plan and book ourselves, or at least virtually book ourselves, a trip to New Orleans. I'm really excited about this. I have never been to New Orleans. I have looked into planning a trip to New Orleans, but I've never gone to the full extent of actually planning the trip to New Orleans. So I'm really excited about today. We're going to be using that same information that I gave you on our last session for booking a trip. Those links will be available to you also in the bottom here on the website underneath this actual link of you following along with me. So let's get started on this because there is a lot that we could see and do in New Orleans, and I'm really excited about some of the adventures that we could have there. So join me on a journey. Let's do this. Well, hello there. My name is Beth Gaff, and I am the systems administrator, technology trainer, and robotics instructor here at the Peabody Public Library. Welcome back to another session of Virtual Travels and Destinations, where I help you plan a trip, whether it's a trip on a budget or just a trip in general. We plan a trip together. So, and each month we travel to a different location. This month we are headed off to New Orleans. If you watched the last month's, which was New York City, we just kind of followed along on the plan a vacation packet. So I'm going to pull that up. Oops. So this is my plan a vacation packet. If you do not have a copy of this, you can get a copy down below here on our website right underneath the link that you're following along with me here. And you'd be able to save that to your computer. Now, I do change these every single month. So depending on what we're doing, and actually this should say plan a vacation to New Orleans. But it doesn't right now. So I do, these are all still kind of new to me as well. So I'm learning as I go as well as you are. I'm really excited about our trip to New Orleans and getting that planned out today. I have never been to New Orleans. However, I would love to go to New Orleans. I think that's how they say it, New Orleans. And there's a lot of things there, tourist-wise, that I would love to go see. So today's class hits hard with me because I really want to go here. So I'm hoping that we can learn a lot of things today. So we're going to follow along on our plan a vacation. And today we're going to plan a trip for you and a friend to go to New Orleans. You're going to be staying for 4 nights, 5 days, and you decided to drive this time so you can see things on the way back. So you are traveling from Chicago, or you can use your own location if you'd like to. And we're going to need a daily schedule, a hotel, car, and food expense. So we have a budget of $1,000 to cover the cost of our travel. Now, you are traveling with a friend, which means that everything that you're going to do on this trip, you guys are splitting. So everything's going to be half, okay? So your cost of travel is going to be including your rental car, staying at a hotel, meals, and it also goes towards any of your resort admissions, hotels, meals, while at your destination. You can also use some of that leftover money for extra activities that will make the vacation extra fun. So before we go on any further, I do have a budget worksheet that will be included down below that you'll be able to pick up. You can print this or just kind of look at it. But you could pause me right now and go ahead and get yourself all printed up on some of this stuff. Because even the packet we're following right now actually has a travel budget planner as well. So we're going to try to follow this as best as possible so we can get the most out of our money. Now remember, we only have $1,000. Okay, and we're traveling with our friend. So we're going to expect that our friend is paying half of everything. Okay, so that's going to help us out with our travel. It's not like you're doing it for the family and you have to come up with all the money. On this particular trip, you're going to be able to split it with somebody. Okay. So I'm going to minimize this. Actually, we wanted to take a look at it. So on this particular vacation budget planner, we have where you can fill out the destination, the dates that you're going to go. And I don't know if I included that. We'll go through the planner. If not, we'll come up with dates right now. $1,000 is what you have. And these are the areas that we're going to have to get filled in. Okay. So I'm going to minimize that and let's go to the next section. So here's what our tasks are. We're going to choose a rental car company and car to meet our needs. Okay. And remember, our friend is going to be splitting half of this. And anything that involves rental cars means that there's going to be gas, right? So you could do it one of two ways. You could say, hey, you pay for all the gas there and back, and I'll pay for the rental car. So you got to kind of determine what your gas prices are during the time of travel, how far your destination is going to be, which we can figure that up. You're going to use the site for a hotel or maybe even rent an apartment, which we did talk about on the New York City trip. Airbnb is a really good one, as well as hotels.com, booking.com. You can also use other travel sources like Travelocity, Expedia, Hotwire, Priceline, where they budget all of that for you and get it all together. What do we want to see while we're there, and how much is it going to cost us to see that stuff? And what am I looking at for food expenses? Okay, so the materials. You'll receive vacation choices, vacation cost chart. So that's on our next slide. So here's our vacation choices. So rental car, I'm not sure when this was created, but those numbers have changed quite a bit. Our travel hotel, our travel meals, our destination hotel, our destination meals, our destination resort and park. So if we're if we're driving out of Chicago, or you can use your own location, to New Orleans, we're going to first want to get a map to find out what is our distance there and back. Round trip, what are we looking at? So I'm going to minimize this. And I'm going to go into my web browser. Or my search engine, sorry. Well, my web browser into my search engine. And I'm going to go to Maps. I'm going to use Google Maps, but you can use whatever maps you would like. And up here, I'm going to go ahead and click on this. It's not showing it to you, but it's directions. So I need to choose my starting point. So I'm just going to put in Chicago, Illinois. And I'm going to New Orleans for the moment. Now, you can actually set this to go to your hotel instead. All right. So I am looking at a 13-hour drive. This is a 13-hour drive. And I plan on splitting that with my friend. So she's going to be driving 6.5, and I'm going to be driving 6.5. Okay. Again, now that may change according to where your hotel's located. It is 926 miles. So I definitely am going to want, and that's just one way. So I've got a 13-hour drive one way and then another 13-hour drive back. Now remember, the reason why we're driving is because on the way back, we want to sightsee. We want to see things. Okay. Now, because I'm older, now if you're younger, you may want to drive this straight through. But I'm older, so I don't want to. Okay, I'm probably going to drive my halfway, and then I'm going to get a hotel room, and then I'm going to let my friend drive us the rest of the way in the next day. Okay, but first we need to come up with our dates. So let's put in, and I'm just going to use the internet as my source right now. Let's say that we want to go in September. Now, keep in mind that hurricane season is June through November, so it's basically half of the year. Okay, so there's been a couple of different trips that I've planned that was during hurricane season. So we may change that actually. And where I did have to cancel and reroute myself and go west because a hurricane did come through. So let's just say, for the sake of not having to worry about hurricane season, we're going to go in May. Okay, so we're going to go in May, and we're going to leave on Sunday, the 9th, May 9th. And we're going to stay, which that's Mother's Day, but it doesn't really matter for this purpose, which would mean that we would be there on the 10th. And we're going to stay for 4 nights. So we've got Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, and we're going to leave on Friday. So it's 4 nights, 5 days. So we're going to leave. Actually, we're going to leave a day early because we want to, we're going to actually just leave on Thursday because we want to sightsee a few things on our way home. So we're going to do it to May 13th is when we're leaving. Okay. These are the dates of our travel. May 9th through May 13th. So write that down. Okay. Now that we have our date, now that we know how far we're going to be traveling, let's look up a rental car. So I'm going to go into rentalcars.com. Actually, yeah, that's fine. Let's just use our search engine and type in rental cars. Now what that does is it pulls up more options for us. Although rentalcars.com is usually the cheapest, just so you know, we can most definitely look at a travel site. So like Travelocity, Expedia, something along those lines for car, hotel, things like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on rentalcars.com. And I'm going to be picking up at Chicago Airport because it's usually cheaper for you to rent a car through the airport instead of getting it from a side place. But if you live in a small town and it's a little bit easier, then you can do it that way. I'm going to route mine to the airport because you do get cheaper rates when you rent from the airports. And I am going to be leaving and actually I'm from Fort Wayne, so I'm going to do Chicago first, and then I'm going to put in Fort Wayne. And we're leaving on May the 9th, but I need to pick up my car on the 8th because if you're going to the airport, you should be able to pick up your car whenever. And I'm going to be returning it on the 16th. So I'm going to keep it for a full week because leaving on the 9th, we can put it for 10 a.m. Leaving on the 9th, I'll be in New Orleans on the 10th. That gives me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to do whatever it is I want to do. And I'm heading out on the 13th, but I want to sightsee. So I'm probably going to spend an extra night. So I'm probably going to be traveling the 13th, 14th, and 15th. I'll be back on the 15th. So we're going to do this to the 16th, and I'll return my rental car. And just so you know, a lot of times when you rent a car for a full week, it's cheaper on you than just for a few days. So I'm going to search that. And now it's going to search everywhere that it has rights to, basically. All right. Well, that's actually a pretty good deal. All right. So this is a very small car. So I may want to look into something a little bit bigger. Let's go with an full size. Just so I have plenty of room. I'm going to be on the road a lot. I'm using this car a lot. So it looks like I'm going to be looking at about $300 going out of Chicago for a week with a rental car. I am now going to put in my actual location just because I'm curious. Oops. And I live in a smaller town, so I'm just going to put Fort Wayne, and it's probably going to pick up the airport anyways, as long, it's going to search the airport and anything surrounding me, which you can see it's a lot more expensive doing it this way. Great news. So we're going to click on Show Me and see what that does. Maybe cut it down a little bit. So I'm still looking at total price. It looks like I'm going to be doing $400 going out of Fort Wayne versus going out of Chicago. So your bigger cities, you're going to have a little bit more of a discount. Now, let me see where it wants me to pick it up. Okay, none of these are the airport. So let me see if it is cheaper on me if I actually do it through... There we go. The airport, because this is my prices without the airport. Total price right here. I'm looking at about $400 for a very small car. Let's see what happens if I go to the airport and pick it up. Not really a whole lot. I'm surprised. Really, really am. This is picking up at the terminal. So it looks like the other location was a little bit cheaper on me. But for our purposes, I'm going to go ahead and put Chicago back in. So that's how you would be able to search other areas. Maybe there's another town around you. Chicago is actually about 3 hours from me. So I probably wouldn't go pick up a rental car there. But I was thinking that was more central to us, Midwest-wise. So I chose that. So you can see it's a lot cheaper to rent it. Now, I would probably go with the full size, just so I had more room, because I'm going to be living in this car basically for the next week. All right, so I am completely good with the Ford Fusion, so I'm going to select this car. And we're just waiting for it to load. And it looks like I get unlimited miles, which is good because I'm going to be driving 926 miles one way. So, and then of course you can add on for $12 per day. You can add on insurance, or you could call your insurance company and find out if your insurance covers you on a rental car. So let's go with an in-between number and just say $300 for our rental car. Now you would have to figure it up for your location. So it may be less, it may be more. All right, so we've got our rental car figured out. Now, again, our friend's paying half. So I only need to come up with $150 for that rental car. Okay. Now, 926 miles. Let's figure out gas. I'm assuming that car is going to get at least 25 miles to the gallon. Let's see what gas prices are in Chicago. Let's see. Gas Buddies, always a good one. Looks like they're at about a 265 average. So 926 miles. You get 25 miles to the gallon. I'd imagine that one. So, I mean, you're just going to have to kind of guesstimate. And 25 miles. I mean, you're going to probably be able to drive a good 200-300 miles on a tank of gas. So, if I'm going 900 miles, then that means I'm probably going to have to fill up probably 3 times before I get to New Orleans. And depending on the size of my tank, let's say it's a 13 gallon tank that my car can hold, 13 gallons of gas. So I'm going to be looking at $2.65 per gallon. I have to get my phone out so I can use my calculator. Math is not my strong suit. So $2.65 a gallon times 13 gallons. I'm looking at $35 every time I fill up. So let's just round it up to a $40. $40 every time I fill up times 3 is $120 for one fill up. Okay. Our rental car is going to be $300. So you're probably best just to go half on everything. So you're going to be looking at a roughly times 3 is 120. So you're looking at about $150 total in gas for each of you. Okay. So, I mean, that's give or take depending on what gas prices are when you would actually be leaving. And this is just a very, very rough estimate. So you're looking at $150 in gas there and back. It's round trip. Yeah, so that's not too bad actually. For you and your friend to split. Okay, so let's just get into the trip, shall we? All right, so we have figured out how much our gas is going to cost us, how much our rental car is going to cost us, when we're going, how far we're going. Remember, our budget is $1,000. And so far, we've already used $300 with gas and rental car, splitting it with our friend. Okay. Let's see what we want to do. So here's some of the 15 best things that you can do in New Orleans. And later on, you're going to see a video, a travel guide video that actually kind of explains this a little bit more thorough, and you'll actually be able to see some of those highlights. But here's things to do. So here's popular things. They have architecture tours that you can take. And that's what all of these are. This website here I will include for you to look at. This is on TripAdvisor. So architecture tours of New Orleans. That's what all these are. And the cost for the tours, groups, individual. They also have cultural tours. So again, cost, groups. Ooh, they have a food tour. New Orleans small group French Quarter food tour, 2 to 3 hours. So you'd be able to eat on that tour. That's pretty exciting. Then they've got historical tours. So the Ghost Voodoo Vampire Tour. This is some more of the what they're known for. Cemetery and Ghost. Bus tour. French Quarter Historical Sites Tour. There's all kinds of different tours in there. Art tours. Steamboat. That looks fun. So just kind of looking at some of these prices, and I'm going to show you a video later that'll show you how you could get by with a couple of days in New Orleans with only having like $7 in your pocket. So, but if you want to splurge, I would say you're going to want to budget yourself for sightseeing purposes while you're in New Orleans. Oops. I would say that you'd probably want to, okay, here's some more of those. There's more tours. Sailing dinner cruises. Okay, so this is a $200 dinner cruise. It's the only one they have. See what it says. Absolutely nothing. Okay. Taking safety, it's 2 hours. So it looks like, okay, here we go. Here's photos from that. It's a steamboat.
And I'm not sure if it is open right now, but you could definitely, oh, VIP steamboat. I don't know what exactly you get because I'm having a hard time finding that. Okay, here it is. 2-hour paddle wheeled boat cruise with live jazz entertainment, private boat, and pilot house tour led by the first mate, and you get dinner. And I would think, though, man, that's a pretty expensive one. $200, you would think that gratuities would be included in that, but it isn't. So keep a mind on that one. Okay, so then you've got ways to tour. So you can book different tours here. There's your food walking tour. Some of the tours we've already seen. They do have the National World War II Museum. Here's your top attractions. So this is pretty neat. Let's look at how to visit New Orleans on a budget. So New Orleans is a singular destination in the United States. There's no other city quite like the Big Easy. And it's on just about everyone's bucket list. You can spend a lot of money on a visit there if you stay in a very upscale hotel, eat repeatedly at pricey restaurants, and take an inexpensive nightlife. Take in expensive nightlife. But, you, excuse me, sorry about that. Okay, so, but you have lots of memorable fun in New Orleans and get the flavor of this exotic city. So when to go? Spring and fall are great choices, although September and October, can bring you the threat of hurricanes and tropic storms. Summers can tend to be unfortunately hot and muggy. Dress accordingly. Where you should eat, and this goes into different places that you could eat, where you should stay. Getting around, how you can get around. You can do the streetcars. They have a transit. Some of the area attractions, the French Quarter. Here's some tips. Every trip is enhanced by some insights getting from locals. Here are a few from the Big Easy. So it tells you that you can see a great view of New Orleans from the ferry rides. Here's a small splurge at the Café du Monde. Although I heard that there is a place in New Orleans, and I think they show it in the video, where you get dollar margaritas, and it's like that all the time. So you can get a Creole breakfast, beignet, and it's less than $5. Word about crime. In any large city, there are areas that should be avoided, especially after dark. So police presence is strong in heavily tourist areas such as the French Quarter. But be careful not to wander alone into unfamiliar areas. Don't display expensive jewelry or wads of cash. And don't hesitate to spend a few extra dollars on a cab, especially at night. So that's good to know. Mardi Gras, there's a park and ride parade that they do. Time is money. Attractions beyond. They have swamp tours. Interesting. Plantation tours. You can drive to certain parks. Here's Your Trip to New Orleans complete guide. Let's take a look at this video and see what it has to say.
You think New Orleans, you think Mardi Gras, but there's way more than just celebrating Fat Tuesday. Here's how to make the most of your time in the Big Easy, no matter when you go. There's a few essentials you can't miss. For the quintessential New Orleans experience, start in the French Quarter. Book a Royal Carriage Tour. It's a great way to explore the 300-year-old neighborhood. Or head out on foot. A good starting point is Jackson Square. Visit the National World War II Museum. Powerful imagery and sound, plus a massive artifact collection. It's a must-see for history buffs. Check out one of the Cities of the Dead. There are over 45 above-ground cemeteries here and some spooky lore. or go to the bayou for some alligator watching. An airboat tour through the swamps is a great reason to get out of the city. Now, this is the birthplace of jazz. Live music can be found almost anywhere, anytime, but the spring is definitely the most popular time to visit with the New Orleans Jazz Festival and Mardi Gras. So, if you want to avoid the crowds or the summer heat, November and December is actually a great time to visit. Aside from the music, New Orleans is big on booze. I mean, after all, you can drink in the streets. Just ask for a Go Cup. Drink a famous hurricane at Pat O'Brien's in their courtyard with a flaming fountain. Or sip spirits at a small jazz club like Bamboula's. For transportation, the historic New Orleans Streetcar is a cheap and fun way to get around. During peak hours, they come about every 5 minutes, and they run 24 hours a day, except on parade days. For a great view of the Mississippi, ride the Canal Street Ferry, known locally as the Algiers Ferry. And whatever you do, don't leave without trying some authentic New Orleans cuisine. Warm, sugary fried beignets at the famous Café du Monde. A shrimp po' boy on crispy French bread from Parkway Bakery and Tavern.
Order up. Shrimp po' boy.
And of course, classic gumbo, a hearty dish that's prepared a million ways and you can find it all over town. Last, a quick word about safety. It is safe here, but just like most big cities, common sense is required, especially if you're drinking and in large crowds. The mashup of music, booze, food, and culture makes this one of the most distinctive cities in the U.S. Enjoy your trip!
Okay, that was pretty cool. Oops.
You
Sorry. Let's get out of this. There we go. All right, so that's an awesome time. Okay, so there you have it. You should visit in November or December. That's the best time to go do it. Things to go see. This website is just full of places that you can see, so you can write down some of those costs. So for our budget sheet purpose, I'm going to go back to our budget sheet. Oops. Okay, so, and actually I think I want to pull up the one that I can edit. Yes. Let me see what this is. Sorry, my computer's being slow. But I want to fill this stuff in while we've got it fresh in our minds so we don't forget what we're spending here. Oops, that's not even it. Okay. Let's go into here. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go down to my budget sheet here. I don't know what just happened. Here we go. Well, here, let me get out of this. I think I pushed a button, so let me get back in. Okay. What the heck? Alright, let me fix this. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go down to our budget sheet here. Alright, and I'm going to take out some of these numbers. I believe these were from our last... Okay. We aren't flying, so we're not going to worry about this section. Let's see. We decided that we're going to stay 3 nights, 4 days. We have a budget of $1,000. So we're going to need to find out. Oops. Go. Let's see. Meals. We're going to keep this at 5 meals, 5 days. Okay, so we're only going to be there for 4 days. Let's say we're going to do 2 meals per day at $20. for 4 days. So that is what? $40 a day. That's $160 per person for food. So we're going to take this number out because that's actually our total budget, which we're going to put up here. 1,000 is our total budget. All right, so now we need to decide where we're going to stay and if we're going to stay extra. So I'm thinking if we're leaving on May 9th, I only want to drive halfway and then I want to get a hotel. So I am going to look up on hotels.com. Well, first off, let's go back to our map and figure out where halfway is. And I'm doing this from Chicago to New Orleans. Okay. It looks like halfway is about in this area. So maybe Charleston, Missouri. And here is some options. So let's go to hotels.com again. And it looks like Charleston, Missouri is about halfway. So we're going to put in Charleston, Missouri. And we're going to be getting there on the 9th, and we're going to be checking out on the 10th. There's 2 of us, and we're going to search. Now, I can come up here to where it says price, and I can do this low to high, and this will show me the lowest. I'm really good about making sure that I pay attention to the reviews of hotels. Sometimes cheaper is not better, so you just want to be careful. You can also come up here and, or actually it's here on the side, and use a filter, and I want them to include breakfast in there for me. So now it's going to narrow it down to the hotels that offer breakfast. And again, I'm splitting this with my friend. Okay. So let's check out the Super 8 because it is the first one. It's just for one night. I'm going to be spending $70 total, so it's $35 per person. Let's look through some of our pictures to see how it looks. Here's my breakfast area. Here's the latest review. Let's see what their reviews say. Exceptional, fair, poor. I mean, you're going to get it everywhere, but just read these with a grain of salt. If you hear that they didn't feel safe or that some shady stuff might be going on in that hotel, then you may not want to be staying there. Let's try the Quality Inn. It's a little bit more in cost, $77. Let's see what their reviews say. Included breakfast, not acceptable. Oh, okay. So they didn't get their breakfast. That may have something to do with the pandemic. I do know that, let's take a look at this. I do know that recently I traveled out of the state, and most of the hotels in the state I was traveling to was not serving breakfast. So you're definitely going to want to call your hotel and make sure that it's something that they're doing before you book it if that's important to you. Let's try the Best Western. They have an indoor pool, which is good for not having to worry about weather outside. It looks like they've got a decent breakfast. Let's look at some of the reviews. Let's look at a little bit more here. They have a workout room. The rooms look pretty nice. Nice and clean. Overnight stop. Room was clean. Nice place to stay. So I'm thinking I want to splurge, pay $42, and I want to stay here. It tells you everything you're getting. Indoor pool, computer station. You're going to get free breakfast. So if I click reserve, now I can come down and choose what kind of room I want. Now you may pay a little bit more for a double bed versus just a king bed. So keep that in mind as well. So you're going to get internet, breakfast. This is for a king, and here's 2 queens. So yeah, I am going to pay a little bit more. It's going to cost me probably $50, but I feel like it's worth that. Now, if you are for 100% sure that you're not going to be wanting to cancel, then you could get it a little bit cheaper and pay for it now. Or you can pay for the convenience of free cancellation, which is an extra almost $20. So I'm going to go with the $50 is what we are spending on one night. Okay, so we're going to stay at the Best Western. We're only staying there for one night. And my cost on it is only going to be $50. So my total is $50 just for that overnight. It's just an overnight trip or overnight stay. Then I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to drive the rest of the way in. Okay, and that's where we're going to put this hotel. Okay. What was this one? Travel costs, resort. Okay. Yep, 160. We didn't do a travel package, so we're not going to worry about that because we're just driving straight in. Now, what I don't see is where we can put our rental car in. So let's see here. Activity. Okay, well, we'll take all this out. Completed cost. Sample. Okay. Okay, that's the rubric. We don't want that. So what I would probably do, extra expenses, I think I'm going to change this up here for my rental car. So I'm doing a rental car. And I'm actually going to go to Travelocity real quick because I want to see if I book this, okay, so car, let's see what packages are. Okay, hotel. Okay, this packages only really work. Okay, so I want to add a hotel and add a car. So I'm going to New Orleans. I'm going to be checking into the hotel on the 10th. And I'm going to check out that day. And I want to search. I'm probably not going to want to put my car in there because I'm picking my car up in my own town. So it's just going to quote me for... Now, let's say you decide that you want to drive all the way through. I mean, if you want to drive all the way through, you can check in this day and check out that day. But remember, you're not going to be able to get your rental car until like 9 or 10 in the morning. And then you have 13 hours. So I don't think this will work for you being able to do just a rental car. So, all right. So let's go back in here, though, and fill this out. So we're going to use rentalcars.com. We're going to keep the car for 7 days, which ended up totaling $300, depending on where I am, But I only have to pay $150 because I'm splitting it with a friend. And we can note that here. Split with friend. Okay. We're not using a travel package for this. We've got our meals in here already, which we can't obviously split with our friend because they have to take care of themselves. So now we're going to look for a hotel in New Orleans. So I'm going to go back to myhotels.com. I have found that hotels.com and bookings.com have some of the best prices. So let's go back. All right. So we're going to go to New Orleans. And we're going to check in on the 10th. And we're going to check out on the 13th. 2 people, 3 nights. Okay. So again, we can come up to the price low to high. If you want your breakfast included. Okay. So they've got the Quality Inn. Now, if you want to stay in the French Quarter, let's take this off because most of those I don't believe, serve breakfast. So if you actually want to be in the heart, so this one's in the French Quarter. Let's see what this is. Central location. Okay. It looks like Wi-Fi. Okay, so you can rent an entire house. That's cool. I didn't know you could do that through hotels.com. Okay. Located in the French Quarter. But let's look here. So you got 44. There's a city house. So this might actually be a hostel as well. So we want an actual hotel that's ours. We don't want anything that's a hostel. We want our own location. Motel 6. I'm going to go ahead and flip this back to price high to low and see if we can get into the area that we want. Oh my, never mind. Let's go back here and just click search. All right, so here's some of the just like kind of the normal. Garden Hotel, 0.3 from the center. Holiday Inn. So this one's located in the French Quarter. Fairfield Inn and Suites. Courtyard by Marriott. Okay. So let's just say that we're going to be spending about $100 a day in New Orleans. So we're looking at about $300 in hotel. So we're just going to put down that we plan to stay in the French Quarter. And it's for 3 nights. And the total cost of it's going to be about $300. But I only have to pay $150 of that because I am splitting it with a friend. Our meals are up top. Now, here's where we probably want to list our daily schedule. So here's where you're going to want to decide, or actually, here's where you need to put the cost of the choices of the things that you want to do in New Orleans. So if you wanted to do a food tour, I think I saw that it costed like $65. That is not something you'd be able to split with your friend. So let's go on the high end. Let's say you've chosen 3 different options at around $50, $60. Oops. So we're just going to kind of fill it out that way. Oops. I keep double clicking. Okay, so we're looking at what, 120 plus 65. So let's say $200 on the high end is what you're going to spend to sightsee and visit. And then here, of course, you would list how much the item is and what you're going to do. That's what this sample schedule's for. So you'd want to plan out what you're doing. Okay. And then coming back, you're also, let's say, total trip cost. Okay, so let's add up our stuff. So we've got $200 is our total price for visiting. Then we've got $150, $160, and $150, right? Well, plus our rental car, which is here. Yeah, okay. $150. So let's add all this up. $150 for our rental. I've budgeted $160 for food for my entire trip. $50 extra for an extra room. $150 to stay for my 3 nights. And the sightseeing that I'm going to do. Now, did I add in gas up here? I did not. So we figured up another $150 in gas, right? So let's take this out. So this is going to be gas for the entire trip. So I am going to, I'm trying to find my paper. Oh, here it is. We figured up about $150 in gas, which is about $300, but I can split it with my friend. So in this scenario, you could tell her, hey, look, I'll pay the rental car, you pay the gas. Because, well, no, because that wouldn't work. Never mind. So I'm adding another $150 in for gas. My total right now is $860. Oops. I have a $1,000 budget. So that means any sightseeing on the way home. Because I've already budgeted in food. Needs to be less than $150. Okay. So we've got that we can budget in, which would give us then a final total of $1,000. Final total. And then, of course, you'd have your schedule all filled out of what you're going to do, how much it's costing you to do it. All right. So that's our budget for our New Orleans trip. Although I don't have everything listed that we're going to do, you just need to keep within a $200 budget of that. And you may even find that gas is not going to be as much as $300. Maybe only budget for $200. You know, once you're on the highway, you might get better gas mileage, so it may not cost as much, which just is more money in your pocket. And you're probably going to want to budget in an extra room. So you're going to need to get a hotel on your way. On the way home. So I would budget $50 for that. So that drops this down. I'm still going to keep it at $150 because I do think that gas is on the high end right now. So I think you'll have that extra money technically to spend on those leisurely things. So let's go back to, I've got this website as well, trip planning tools for your New Orleans trip. Very similar to the other site. Gives you a little bit more information about things you can do and so forth. And then I think we looked at this one. And this is just another, yeah, we did look at this one. And we looked at this one. So we looked at all of those. We got on hotels.com. We got everything we needed to plan our trip. We did it all within our $1,000 budget. And we're going to be gone basically from Sunday to Friday or Saturday. I mean, you've budgeted yourself enough for an entire week instead of just 3 to 4 days in New Orleans. That's pretty good, right? All right, you guys. Hey, thanks so much for being a part of Travels and Destinations, our New Orleans trip today. I hope this helped you be able to plan a trip for yourself. I've got a couple of videos that are going to follow this, so keep your eye out for that. And I can't wait to see you next month for us to plan our next trip. So thanks so much. Have a great one.
Located 105 miles upriver from the Gulf of Mexico, New Orleans is the largest city in the U.S. state of Louisiana. Straddling the lower reaches of the Mississippi River, this port city has long been at the crossroads of exploration, trade, and commerce. New Orleans is a melting pot of cultures that has happily simmered away since 1718. So, what's in the pot? Cultural influences from France, Africa, Brazil, and the Deep South mix with Catholicism, Voodoo, Cajun Zydeco, and Dixieland jazz to make New Orleans one of the most lively and popular destinations in the USA. Laissez les bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. That's the motto New Orleans lives by. And newcomers usually waste no time in heading to where the good times roll the loudest. The French Quarter, the birthplace of jazz. Lined with bars, clubs, and restaurants, the Quarter is home to one of the most party-friendly streets in the world, Bourbon Street. But the French Quarter is more than just a good time. It's also where you'll find many of the city's prime attractions. Start your day in the Big Easy with a cafe au lait in Jackson Square. Riding tall in the saddle is Andrew Jackson, the general whose ragtag army of locals humiliated the British in the Battle of New Orleans. Jackson Square is lined with many of the city's grand old buildings, like St. Louis Cathedral. On either side of the cathedral are the Cabildo and the Presbytère, just two of several historic French Quarter buildings which make up the Louisiana State Museum. Across the square is the 1850 house, which recreates life in a row house from the antebellum era. Just around the corner, the old U.S. Mint preserves the city's mercantile and musical treasures. While it's tempting to spend your entire visit in the French Quarter, and some folks never leave, New Orleans offers plenty of other flavors too. Cross over Canal Street into the Warehouse District, an area of renovated grain stores and sugar presses, now packed with galleries and chic boutiques. A little further uptown, in Memorial Hall, the faces and voices from the American Civil War reach out across the cannon smoke of time. Just nearby, discover why the National World War II Museum has been hailed as the most important Second World War repository in America. Climb aboard a St. Charles streetcar bound for the Garden District. Here, amid the Victorian cottages and stately plantation homes, you'll find Lafayette Cemetery. Join a tour run by local volunteers or explore the crypts on your own. But be warned, the cemetery is regarded as one of the country's most haunted. When it's time to rejoin the living, follow your nose across the road to another New Orleans institution, Commander's Palace Restaurant. Ride the streetcar a few stops further west to Audubon Park. The park is home to the charming Audubon Zoo, which features a quaint southern touch, an alligator-filled swamp. The zoo is part of the Audubon Nature Institute, which includes the Insectarium and the Aquarium of the Americas. While at the nearby New Orleans Museum of Art, explore paintings, ceramics, and sculptures from across the ages and from around the world. Visiting New Orleans outside the carnival season? No problem. Just head across the river to the Mardi Gras Museum, which brings one of the world's greatest festivals to life all year round. New Orleans' distinctive and sometimes fiery cuisine will ensure you never miss a beat. Local specialties like gumbo, po' boys, and pralines are available everywhere. But it's the music here that truly feeds the soul. So when the sun starts to set, head for one of the many jazz or blues clubs on Frenchman Street before heading back to Bourbon Street, where the New Orleans good times roll on and on and on.
People think travel's expensive because they buy stuff like this. I'm budget travel expert Megan Kaiser, and I'm going to show you how to experience New Orleans like a local. The food, live music, art, drink, all for less than $7 a day. Let's do this.
New Orleans is one of America's best budget travel destinations. I love that the Big Easy is the home of all things easy. A taste of the laid-back way of life is what attracts millions of visitors every year. Speaking of taste, it's breakfast time in New Orleans, and you can't come here without trying some beignets. Café du Monde is probably the most well-known spot, and it's not just for tourists. You'll find locals here too.
I just ordered 3 beignets for $2.73. It's the cheapest thing on the menu, but it's still a huge chunk out of my budget. After this, I'm gonna be at below $5 for the rest of the day. I think I should test out these donuts. It's so good.
New Orleans wouldn't be the same without voodoo culture. So I'm gonna check out a Voodoo Cultural Center and take a free lesson.
This is Voodoo Authentica. It is a shop and a temple. We are all practitioners and priests. I'm an Ongan of Haitian Voodoo. We have been here for over 20 years, and I'm here to answer questions and do readings for people.
Lessons are free anytime you step into the shop. And offerings to voodoo deities are always welcome.
I love travel. Is there any spirit you'd recommend I petition for help in that world?
Absolutely. There's a spirit right here called El Egua. Is the road opening spirit. So this is the spirit that lives at the crossroads. If you leave him 3 pennies, he will definitely work to open the roads for you and have that spontaneity and that momentum.
3 pennies? I think I can handle that.
All right, I'm starving. I'm looking for some fried chicken. Where should I go?
Some fried chicken, go to Hank's. You get the best bang for your buck.
Okay.
The New Orleans food scene is so epic, even the gas stations and corner stores have amazing food. And yes, fried chicken. Some of the best comes from Hank's.
I'm already at under $5, so the price of this chicken fits my budget perfectly. Don't judge a book by its cover. Hank's has some of the best in town. You can get one piece for 75 cents, y'all. I can't wait to eat this. That chicken was delicious, but now I need something to wash it down with. Dollar daiquiris, y'all. We're here at Cafe Masperos. They do this deal all day, every day. No open container laws in New Orleans, so I can take to the streets with these savings. With more than half our money gone, I need to get extra creative to find some budget-friendly fun. And now I can tap dance. Some of the best travel experiences are just about the people you meet along the way.
I actually teach the dance on the street, the second line dance. The mini lesson I give is right here. Here you go. Knee up, out, arm in, and then swivel 3 times and kick. 1, sashay, 1, hey, 2, hey, 3, and then a kick. One more time. 1.
There's so much color and life everywhere you look, just walking around the city. Or running. It's no surprise then that New Orleans is home to one of the world's top art spaces known for its murals.
This area that y'all are in right now, it's actually called the Bywater, the areas of the city that was most hit by Katrina. And so it is a pretty special place. It's called Light. In this piece, but it's all about strength and resilience.
Studio B is a huge warehouse-turned-gallery full of vibrant art. The small entrance fee is a bit outside my budget, but the mural out front alone is worth the trip. A fun and inexpensive way to taste the local libations is to take a brewery tour. The best part? Free beer! Hurricane Katrina shut down the last of the city's breweries, so the NOLA Brewing Company stepped in to make sure good beer was still being brewed within the city limits.
My title is Director of Funk. There are a lot of antiquated laws, and that's kind of where our free tour came from. So we used to not be able to sell beer on premise at all. So we would open up the doors and let people come in, and they could have all the free beer they wanted. The laws have since switched, but we still wanted to be able to give back to our fans, so we still kept that 1 hour where we give free beer away.
Free beers, free music, $7 a day in New Orleans is easy. There's really no other choice when you're in New Orleans. You gotta get your hands on some Gulf oysters. The good news for me? They're $1.
It's really fresh, right off the boat, and wouldn't have it any other way.
There's several 50-cent oyster spots in the city, but Clessy's is one of the few still serving them up for 25 cents each during their oyster happy hour.
Thank you.
The best way to see the city is on foot, but don't miss a ride on the historic St. Charles Streetcar through the Garden District. The route dates back to 1835. It's the oldest continuously operated streetcar line in the world. Sit back and enjoy the scenery of southern mansions and huge live oaks. I'm down to 2 cents, but I can't leave the city without seeing what New Orleans is known worldwide for: jazz. Tourists go to Bourbon Street, locals go to Frenchman, so that's where we are, obviously. But the best part is free music nearly every night of the week. So, how do we do? Beignets, voodoo, fried chicken, dance lessons, oysters, daiquiris, breweries, streetcar, jazz, all for a total of $6.98. New Orleans is a budget traveler's dream. I can't believe how much we just did for $7. It's proof that you don't need a big budget to have an amazing time. So, let's get back here soon. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Oh, and leave a comment. Where should I go next?